All right, we're back. Football with the Great American Youth.
Mm.
Guess we're going into this is our ninth episode, going into week 10. As you can see, we have a special guest, the league leader, joining us in a little bit. Was not a good week for either one of us, really, but we got to get through it. We got to still do this. We started it. We've made it this far, so we need to keep making episodes regardless of how bad our team feels.
And the season's not over. Still 4 or 5
Sure.
games left in the season. You can still go 5-0, 4-0, make the playoffs.
It's true. It's anything. No one has a 0% playoff percentage yet, so anything is possible.
Yeah, let's get into it. Stories of the week. We'll start it off with, when did the Eagles lose? I mean, it's a great question there. They beat the Texans. It was kind of a closer game than people expected, but they still won with a little bit of ease. They have an easy schedule ahead too. I think the thing about that, I think the only team I could see them potentially losing to is the Cowboys on that schedule looking forward. I think divisional games are probably their weakness, and I'd say Giants have a good chance, and I even think the Commanders have a good chance this next week. I think it'll be closer than people think. I think the Eagles are a little overhyped. I'm just gonna say that right now. I do think they'll lose. It'll either be end this regular season or playoffs.
They're gonna lose, yeah. So they're not an undefeated team, but they're damn good. So we'll see. I don't know. They're gonna have. I mean, obviously a playoff team, and I mean the way they're playing, they could beat any team in the league on their best night. So
definitely.
All right, and then next one. This is a crazy. I mean, highest score, probably the most entertaining game of the week. It's unfortunate that Justin Fields lost because I feel like he was really the biggest story. He ran for 178, a touchdown, threw for 3 more, but Tua did better, threw for I think 302, over 300, another 3 touchdowns. Tyreek has just been crazy. I mean, the Dolphins' offense is like everything they've expected it to be, and I mean, just they're performing at a really high level. One of the best offenses in the league, and but interesting to see just signs of life out of Justin Fields. I think there was definitely some coming into this season and the start of this season. I mean, maybe some thoughts even that Chicago might consider moving on from him, not this season, but next year, that, maybe he isn't the QB for them. But he's showing that if you put faith in him, allow him to run the ball and be like the dual threat quarterback that he is, he can be everything that we expected him to be. So good to see that out of him, and interesting to see how they do going forward this season.
I got more to say about Fields, but yeah, that game was a shootout. Good to see both those offenses going. I'm gonna talk more about Fields in a little bit. Yeah, Rams blow it out. Rams blow it at the end. That's the last story of the week. I mean, both those teams coming in, they weren't looking good.
Terrible.
They're both like 3-5, 3-4 coming in. And that game was not that good. I mean, there's probably 10 3-and-outs on both sides combined, which is never a good sign. And I mean, at the very end of the game, Brady managed to do what he does best and win the game. It was a fun game at the end to watch, but I would say most of that game was pretty boring. And I think those teams aren't contenders anymore. I think it's fair to say that, but I mean, you can never count Brady out. That's
and you talk about the Bucs. The Bucs are now the Bucs are leading their division right now. So even the Bucs have played terribly so far this year, and the season were to end today, they'd still be in the playoffs. You think if you're I think more so than the Rams, you can be optimistic as the Bucs that okay, maybe Julio comes back, maybe this offense gets into more of a rhythm and they start to do better in a division that's already weak. The Rams, I think they're washed and done, and it's kind of over for them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily washed, but I would say this season is done.
This season, I don't. Well, they traded all their picks to get I don't know. They traded a lot of their picks. They don't have a lot of money to spend. They're just kind of in a weird. They're in a weird spot. I don't see where they improve or how they can really improve from here. It's a weird place they're in.
Yeah.
All right, and then on to, I guess, some of the other stories of the week. The Lions beating the Packers. I mean, I don't know if it's an upset, yes, but I think it's also just kind of proving to us that the Packers maybe that's just the level of team they are this year. Yeah. I think it's kind of more of more so than an upset, that might just be like a sobering, like, okay, this is just where both of those teams are at. The Lions aren't as bad as they were last year, and the Packers clearly are nowhere good as they have been the past several years. They don't have any of the offensive weapons, really, especially the receivers for Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon just haven't really done as much for them. Like it's not working for them at all. Like
Weird to see.
It's weird.
Not gonna lie. My whole life they've been good. No.
I know.
Garbage. Like you don't
Aaron
lose
Rodgers, he threw like 3 interceptions. I
yeah,
think
2 on the 1
Yeah,
yard line. So not a good sign.
crazy to see.
Yeah, the next episode of the week, we've had this team on so many times for the episode of the week.
And we said we weren't going to do it again, but
we had to. We had to. I don't think anyone, as a 13-point underdog, I don't think anyone saw the Bills even getting close to losing this game. I think maybe they thought it would be a close game at best, but I don't think anyone saw this coming. Pretty surprising all around. Josh Allen is hurt too. A lot of like, I think a lot will this will wake the Bills up a little bit. I still think the Jets are at best a 7 seed, 6 seed in the playoffs, but I don't think they're really going anywhere. I think Bills. This shows a lot about the Bills. If they're losing early again, I think kind of like last year, they started losing these games in the middle of the season that people expected them to win. And
yeah, I would say it was first few weeks of the season, the Bills were looking like unstoppable, and you lose to the Jets now, even if it's a Jets team that has a better record this year, like you're saying, it's the games they got to win.
Exactly. And then blowout of the week, as you can see, Patriots over the Colts. I mean, there weren't too many blowouts this week, I would say, but I mean, Colts look bad. That's why their coach got fired.
Yeah, so bye Frank Reich. He's done.
Yeah, I think this kind of talks a lot about the AFC East. They're stud division. We talked about them a lot. Patriots are probably the worst team in the division, and look at them. They're blowing out teams.
Dominating.
I think 5-4 now, something like that.
Yeah, I would say plus record, definitely.
It's gonna be an interesting race for the AFC wild card. So we'll stay tuned for that.
Yeah, but going on from the AFC back to the NFC for the Commanders. Unfortunately, we couldn't pull through against the Vikings and Kirk Commander Cousins. He came back against us, got a win. Last second or game-winning field goal. Greg Joseph came down and scored it against us. I mean, it was, I don't know. The Vikings are a really good team. They played well this year, so it's not necessarily the worst thing to lose to them, but the way it went down, it was a game that we could have won. Like, we were on a good streak. It's definitely like, it's tough to lose that, especially at home, but it is what it is.
We looked good for parts of it, which was good to see, especially against a team that is 7-1. I still think they're frauds, but I mean, the fact that Kirk was dancing like that in that video that everyone's probably seen right now says a lot. That the fact that he's doing that against the Commanders, you could do that against beating the Eagles, something like that. But
yeah, I was like, we are. I mean, we've never really been that good recently. At least we weren't great when you were quarterback here, So
exactly,
it's kind of been the same story for us. So,
until he takes him to the chip, I still don't think he'll be great.
Yeah, but we'll see. He's average. I mean, look, we've said every quarterback in the league is a different version of Kirk Cousins. So maybe he's just kind of, getting his stuff off. Just really strutting his stuff, letting everyone know that he's like the father of the whole league. But it was garbage. We'll see what happens going forward. I don't know who we play next week, but hopefully, I have no clue, but
I think we play the Eagles on Monday night.
Oh yeah, the Eagles. Yes, the Eagles. So yeah, that's not really looking any better for us, but
it could be close. Who knows?
Maybe we can upset them. Who knows? We love Heineke, so see what happens. And then
before we get the guest on, quickly a little trade that went down. Very happy about this. I'll quickly mention it. I basically gave up my receiver depth for a stud RB1 in ETN. I gave up Amon-Ra, Olave, and Pollard, who I'm not really going to play, for Pittman, who's shaky option, and ETN, who I've wanted ever since James Robinson left. And I'm so glad I got him. He dropped 25 this week. Very happy about that. I mean, I'm gonna miss Amon-Ra and Olave. Olave has a lot of upside. So does Amon-Ra. So does Pollard even. But that's the price you got to pay for a true RB1, and I'm glad I made that trade. I
Yeah,
think it was a
same.
fair trade overall, though.
Yeah, say overall, I think fair, and you got so like you said, you got an RB1 out of it, so worth it for you for sure.
Definitely. I think we have a
All
guest
right.
joining us now.
Yeah, say now or
Sammie Eckstein. Welcome,
yes,
Sammie.
there he is.
How you
He's
doing,
on.
man?
What's up, boys? Pleasure to be here.
Good to have you
It's a
on. Good to have you on.
pleasure to have you, the king of the castle, #1 in the league right now. You know,
Absolutely. It's been too long since, so I'm happy to be on finally.
Yeah, I
Good to
know,
have
and
you.
this is it. We have just more proof of this is like the photo on the top. I think is like the most of any of the league that's in one picture. It's 5 of us. Because Ian's in there, me, Yusuke, and both of y'all, and then we have
Right.
4 on the bottom as well.
Yeah, that was at a Wiz Khalifa concert, right?
Was it Matt
Yeah,
Levin there too, or no? Maybe not.
No, he wasn't there. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, just one of the various league bonding activities that we do. We go
I'm
to
gonna.
Wiz Khalifa.
I'm hoping to find a photo that has more than 5 of us, but that's like the current max. I don't know if there's another one that's this.
And there's 4 league members in the bottom photo too.
Yes,
so
of course. The bottom was a great. Had to get some more in. That's a more recent photo of everyone. So
Definitely.
people can't
All right.
question it anymore.
Definitely.
in case they
So
didn't,
Sammie,
in case
We
they
talk
didn't
to
know.
each other.
Yeah. Sammie, do you want to talk a little bit about your team this year? How you feeling about your team? Go through it a little bit.
Yeah. So honestly, I feel pretty good about my team. I've got to say, at the end of this draft, like I felt good. You know, I feel like I've taken much worse teams to the finals before. You know, some people like to remember the first year I did fantasy football. And also, just before I get into my team, I just wanted to say, like, start off with a little story. But
Go for it.
To actually get into this league, it wasn't just handed to me. League member Matt Levine actually made me do a series of trivia questions. I remember this. You know, it was very patronizing. Because I really didn't know football when I first joined the league. So Matt was like, you got to answer these trivia questions. And, you know, I'm in the league, and, you know, I don't think he's ever finished ahead of me. So
now you're consistently every year ahead of him at the end of the
Yeah.
year.
So when's the last time Matt's finished ahead of you?
it hasn't happened, but I'll give Matt there a lot of credit then for just me starting to watch football in general, because fantasy football definitely just got me into football in general. But
would you say Matt Levin's your mentor? I
would say Matt Levin indoctrinated me into the sport, and then I became his mentor pretty quickly.
Fair to say.
That sounds about right.
Student to teacher quickly.
Absolutely, but he gets a little bit of credit. Just going back to my team, you know, I had the number 5 pick, and Cooper Kupp was there. And going into the draft, you know, we did that like dumb little horse race, which just watching the horse race and just having to wait for like 10 minutes for the horses to cross the line, like that was painful. And at first, when I got the 5th pick, I definitely wasn't like happy about it. I was definitely unsure about it. But then I kind of started to analyze like who some of the better players are, and I kind of felt like there were a top 5. So I was happy to get Cooper Kupp. I felt like he fell to me at number 5.
Definitely.
And then I drafted Stephon Diggs, who I also feel definitely fell to me. I did not think Stephon Diggs would have the year that he's having right now. Like, I was actually like very close to not drafting him. I remember like I was thinking about drafting him, and like I was thinking about like Nick Chubb instead, which also probably would have been a good pick. But
definitely.
Then I was just like don't overthink this, and that's probably been my best decision from the draft. After that, I think I picked James Conner after that, which was probably like not a great pick, but the way I see it, it's not that I have like James Conner necessarily, but I have an investment in the Cardinals backfield. So I drafted James Conner and Eno Benjamin. So I knew that I would always have a stake and a good offense's backfield. So that's what I was kind of thinking about. Actually, I know I said Stephon Diggs was my best pick, but I can't even say that because Josh Jacobs might have been my best pick. And that is absolutely shocking to me. I definitely did not think Josh Jacobs would be like a fucking stud. I knew that he was like something was going on with his contract and it was a big prove it year for him. And I knew
that's why it was weird this offseason with him. We didn't know what was going to happen if he was like maybe going to leave or whatever. So it was a weird situation. Yeah.
So, but apparently the situation is that it's like next year is like up in the air. So pretty much he's just leaving it all out there, like, because like his contract is expiring. So he's trying to get as much money as possible. So, and also the Raiders offense got a lot better with Devontae. Even the Raiders are like, I don't know, we don't have to talk about this that much, but like, damn, like the Raiders
are bad.
Disappointing.
They're bad. Their offense has shown flashes, but they're bad.
It's just so disappointing because they have such a talented roster.
So they have some of the pieces, but just like it's not put together.
And I think I could say the same thing about the Rams, where it's just like these teams should not be like 3-6 or like whatever the Raiders are, 2-7, 3-6.
Buccaneers too, even.
Yeah,
they haven't looked good, but with the team that they have, they should be better.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know which team is more surprising that they're doing so bad, the Raiders or the Rams.
Yeah.
But
oh no.
After Josh Jacobs, I think I drafted like Cordarrelle, who, Cordarrelle's a stud. I'm happy to have him back. I also got Deontay Johnson, who has really had a pretty shit year so far, but I actually like Deontay Johnson. I think he's like a top 10 wide receiver talent. And
especially with Claypool gone now, that's like he's kind of clearing away their number one guy.
Yeah, for sure. And even though I think George Pickens, like part of me thinks that George Pickens could become like their number one guy. And like I want the Steelers offense to be like really good. So like I'm kind of like manifesting Deontay Johnson like being really good with Kenny Pickett. And like the Steelers they've made it. Kenny Pickett obviously hasn't looked very good, but he's been thrown into a ring of fire. He's been thrown into an insane situation. And I feel like that's probably going to make him a lot tougher. So I'm definitely a Kenny Pickett believer. But yeah, I guess the two guys I haven't talked about are Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, which is it's an absolute fucking headache every single week. I don't know who to start. It's really annoying, honestly. They're both just so good.
Mm-hmm.
I picked Lamar Jackson pretty early, and Joe Burrow like fell to me. I think he was like the last pick.
Yeah, so he was your last pick, which was like crazy that he was like people were picking defenses and kickers, and you got like he's top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know if I was like the only person who like thought about it, like who thought that Joe Burrow was going to be good. like he just took his team to the Super Bowl. Like he was just balling. But honestly, like me having a lot of the reason like I'm having Joe Burrow is like it's all about like fantasy football is all about like who's gonna do the best in like the playoffs, right? So like I feel like between Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, like I could throw either one of them in based off of matchups, and they both got some interesting matchups. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with my quarterback situation. My tight ends, Jacob, I think David Njoku's coming back this week.
He's back this week?
Yeah.
Bruh. Oh my God.
he is one game off a high ankle sprain, so
They
it's,
might be.
you know,
He might be
he-
limited.
he's got a great matchup. I think the Dolphins are one of the
Miami,
worst.
dude. Miami's been letting up like 30 a game in the first half.
Yo, this central timing is kind of fucking me up. 12
Yeah,
p.m.
both on
star
Central
games.
Oh
Time.
yeah,
Looks weird to you?
Yeah, threw me off.
I've been out here for a minute. This is regular.
Yeah.
On my bench, you know, I've got like, I'm probably gonna get rid of some pieces this week because obviously I need a quarterback this week, and I need a kicker this week. So you guys are gonna be seeing some changes soon in my
Yeah,
team.
I
But
like
yeah, that's
that.
my team.
All right. Let's get into this past week's matchups. All right. Matt Cohen, as you can see, defeated Sammie. We'll get more into the matchup in a
Fortunately.
sec. But as you can see, he won by about 17 points. Matt L beat Adwin by about 20. Adwin putting up the lowest score of the week. Alex beat me by about 11, and I was not happy about that.
Yeah, I got 20 balled by Yusuke. I've lost 6 straight now. I started 2-1, and now I'm 2-7. So this has been like one of my worst years ever, and you know I'm not very happy about it. And then Joel obliterated Ian. Joe Mixon, I mean,
Joe
was
Mixon,
just kind of
Mahomes,
the difference
80
there. I
points,
mean,
90
yeah,
points.
there's no reason for Joe Mixon to have 5 touchdowns in a game. No reason for anyone
That's not
outside
gonna
of the
happen again.
quarterback to have 5 touchdowns in a game, but it happened. And, you know,
And by
Ian
the
just
way,
had to take the L there.
as a somebody who played Joe Burrow last week, watching the Bengals score like 50 points and like Joe Burrow getting like one touchdown out of that was absolutely infuriating. Like Joe Mixon just had like a crazy game.
They just kept feeding him. Like, I don't know why at that point. Like, why wouldn't they
They
give it
just
to
kept
other
getting
people?
down. They kept getting down to like 3-2 yard line. They just were running. I mean, they just put themselves in the same situation 4 times, and then the other one he caught it. So it was
Yeah.
That's the
crazy.
thing. Like as a fantasy manager, like I want them to throw the ball, but like, you know, I can't control that.
And especially when they're up in a game, they're not gonna
Yeah.
probably throw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's get into those standings. Here we go. As you can see, Sammie's still on top after a couple losses. It is getting closer there though with Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, one game separating us.
Yeah, and he took points scored back.
Yeah, I'm going on
Yeah,
a little bit of a sled.
Yeah, so this will be a big game for us this week then. Anthony is unfortunately in last, as you can see.
dead
with
last still.
6%. That's the lowest we've seen all year. I hate to bring
Yeah,
that number up, but
I might be the only one who's hit single digits yet. But Adwin, Adwin lost 2. I'm only 1 game back at Adwin. I play Adwin this week. So, I mean, we'll get into it later, but this next week, like, literally is going to define whether or not I finish last. Like, this is it for me. This is my last stand. But yeah, the rest, pretty run of the mill. We have like a group of 4 and 5, 5 and 4 teams who are just kind of middling it out, but it's kind of clear at this point. Sam, I think the top 4 you can kind of see just off points scored, kind of establish themselves as the top teams, like the best teams in the league at this point, between Sammie, Alex, Matt Cohen, and Ian. And then those last 2 playoff spots kind of up for grabs right now. So a lot going on. I'm pretty much out of it, but between the rest of the teams, a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, Anthony, I wouldn't lose the faith yet. You know, maybe if you lose next week, then you can lose the faith.
Yeah, I'll say this week like really is the last one for me. Or like I don't know.
Hypothetically speaking, like, you know, you're in it until you're not in it. But you know,
it's not 0%. It's 6%. 6% is not 0. I still have a chance.
if you lose next week, it's gonna be 1 or 0 though. I would bet more.
It might be 0 after next week. Well, no, it won't be 0.
Think about how like last week, like Jacob, or like 2 weeks ago, like Jacob was like thinking that he's gonna get last place in the league, and now he's like sitting pretty comfortable. Like that could be you.
Sure.
And I think we also decided last place of the losers bracket, or it's not last place of the losers, but worst record
Yeah.
after losers bracket.
Yeah, so it's where
We still have
so that
time.
won't determine last, but I need
And
to be, but like I can't just keep losing games. I need to pick up some wins.
Yeah, the thing is, at least you have hope with your team. You know, you have a winning team, so you know. I think I think this is a crazy year in our league where like I think we all have like winning teams. So you
Yeah,
know,
so this we were just talking about. This league has been like, or this year has been one of the craziest ones. I mean, like your team is deep, Jacob's team is like, it's a few teams that just have like one position. Like I have really good running backs, but not much else. You think like Matt Levin, he has like Tyreek and Justin Jefferson, but like David Montgomery and Aaron Jones. Like it's a lot of like teams that are stacked at one position, and then like the top few teams, you guys actually have that, like you guys just drafted well.
and it, you know, it's all about making the playoffs, and then you know it's just like
Yeah, at that point, it's up for grabs.
Like who does better this week? Like
you could flip a coin.
Yeah, sometimes we overthink like fantasy football.
Like, that could happen any week to any player.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look at these matches we just had this past week. If you want to click through.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess Sammie, this is yours first.
Yeah, I had a rough week. Well, not really, but Matt Cohen just had a great week.
Yeah.
Matt Cohen has a really good team. He definitely has a team that could win the league. You know, I'm not basing that based off of his luck in the past though. So
you might have the worst luck in the league.
Honestly.
Yeah. I feel like in this league, like we kind of like base things off of like how things have gone in the past and stuff. And it's like funny because like shit does seem to reoccur, but like I don't know. I try not to overthink about those types of things. But you know, Matt Cohen has got, when you've got AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, Mark Andrews, Tua's balling,
Kenneth Walker, Dak,
Walker's.
Najee's not.
Juju's like top 20 receiver right now.
Yeah, Juju's been good. And I think that Najee could pick it up as well because the Steelers' schedule is going to get a little bit easier. And, you know, I just have faith in the Steelers, but, you know, that's probably dumb. Yeah, I just could not. You can't overcome the Patriots defense scoring 26 points on you. Like that was a major slap in the face.
That hurts.
He had a great combo with like Tua and Waddle. You know, so I've lost twice now. So, you know, it kind of sucks, but I'm still pretty comfortable at top of the league. So, you know, I'm definitely not freaking out. In the past, I've like, what happens is that like I lose a game and then I just want to trade players. But I think this year I'm just trying to see it through and just be a little more patient with my team.
Smart, definitely smart. I mean, you have the top record, so really you can pay to do that, or you can afford to do that.
Yeah, like I don't need to make any moves. Like I feel like I shouldn't try to fix something that's not broken. But,
yeah, that's not broken.
Definitely.
So we're good.
Let's see how many games I lose. So
and then eventually maybe make a switch.
Yeah, for now I'm chilling.
Yeah. All right. My matchup. As you can see, I took an L as well. I mean, I had a decent game. ETN played well. Pierce did all right. Hopkins did all right. Ertz did all right. Nobody really boomed. I mean, if you look at my bench, though, I was pretty pissed off about the fact that I didn't play Fields. I picked him up this week. I was contemplating playing him just because Brady's been so bad. I'm starting him this next week, though, because, I mean, clearly I would have won this week if I played him. And I'm kind of done with Brady for now in that Bucs offense. I also have Debo on my team, who I'm excited to get back. But yeah, this week, I mean, I played Eckler, Josh Allen. I knew Alex has been one of the best teams in the league, and I didn't think I had much of a chance. The one thing that kind of pissed me off looking at it now is that Curtis Samuel catch basically won him the game. Because if you take those points off, we basically have the same score, which kind of sucks, but that's how fantasy goes. Yeah, I guess we could get into your game now, Anthony.
Yeah, Sam, mine was no better. I mean, we talked about it last week. I didn't really feel good going into this matchup. The whole premise of my team is Chubb and Derrick Henry. I didn't have Chubb, so I wasn't really expecting much. And Yusuke did to my team what I expected he was going to do. I picked up Rondell Moore off waivers, and I do feel pretty good about that. He's been kind of picking up the volume that Marquise Brown had, so it's nice to see that. I feel comfortable with him as a flex going forward. But Pitts shit the bed again. Algier did well, but with Cordell Patterson back, it's like, what value does he have? It's just kind of, I don't know. Tight end is still a weird thing for me. I'm glad I have Rondell at flex, and going into next week with Chubb and Henry back, with, my kind of full team set, I don't know who I'm going to do it. I'll probably keep Pitts in at tight end, but more hopeful for this week than I have been for some of the past.
Before you switch the slide, take note, Kirk Cousins, look at his projection and look what he scored. That is the most Kirk Cousins thing ever, if I've ever seen it.
Kirk Cousins has been my most consistent player all season.
But like the fact that he's scoring exactly what he's projected is that not like,
because I know what I'm going to look. I love it. I know what I'm going to get at it.
Did you guys see him on the plane?
Yeah. Oh, he saw him on the plane. Dude,
Anthony, I gotta feel like you're riding with Kirk at this point, right?
There's no reason for me not to. Like, he does kind of, he's ranked top 15 or 10. I know what I'm going to get out of him every week. He doesn't really turn the ball over. He's going to throw like 250 and at least a touchdown or two. Like, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting at least like 15 or 16 points, and I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, you got Justin Jefferson attached to that offense, so it's bound to have some offense, right?
Yeah, and with Hawkinson in now, like Thielen's still there. Like, I have enough faith in his weapons to rely on him as a starter.
That's a playoff team, potentially Super Bowl contending, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how it ends up being for them ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess matchups for this upcoming week. As I mentioned, up against Adwin. I guess he doesn't have a defense in right now. Or, oh no, the names are wrong. I'm on the right. He's on the left. I don't have a defense in right now, but so I'm going to end up being projected for more than him. I feel pretty good about my matchup this week. I think Swift and Taylor aren't really, like, I don't know. I don't think his players are that good. Swift and Taylor have underperformed. Amon-Ra's underperformed. Kittle's, like, he has a lot of guys who have underperformed, and I have the number 2 and 3 running back. Kirk has been doing well. Evans against Seattle, I think, could do, like, I don't know. I like my team. I like my matchups. I like the way that my team is trending. So feel good about my matchup against Adwin. And this is kind of my season. Like we were saying, if I lose this, I'm done. So we'll see how this ends up going.
Yeah, you still got a solid squad, Anthony.
Yeah, so I like my team, but I have to win. As much as I like my team, I need to actually win. So see how that goes. And yeah, I guess y'all are head-to-head this week, so we'll let y'all get into your matchup.
Yeah. Do you want to talk first, or should I? Up to you, Sammie.
You can talk first.
Okay. I honestly like my chances this week. I think I don't want to like shit on your team, Sammie. I think you've been falling off the last couple weeks. The wheels falling off the wagon a little bit. You don't have your quarterbacks who've kind of been not big.
Bro, I don't have Money Mac, bro.
Yeah, that's honestly kind of big too.
I'm
fucked.
That.
The other thing is your Diggs. Like, who knows with Josh Allen? That's the thing I'm kind of thinking. Yeah, like if Case Keenum has to play, I think Diggs max. Like, he might not do as well as he's been doing. Cup against the Cardinals, that'll probably make up for it. But Josh Jacobs and Connor, they should do decent. I don't know though. I think you don't have. I mean, unless Njoku ends up playing, he should be limited. Hopefully. So I think I have a good chance of any weeks. Like I think you're the most vulnerable right now, and I think I have a good team this week. I have some good matchups with ETN going up against Kansas City, Bucks against Seattle, and then D-Hop and Ertz against the Rams. They've been kind of falling off too, so I'm excited. I think, as you can see off the projection, I know you're missing people, and I don't have a defense either this week, but I think it should be close.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how my team kind of this year there was just like two specific weeks where all of my bye weeks hit me. It was one other week before that already happened, and now there's this week. And the other week I didn't have Cup and Diggs, and I won that week. So that's just how like this is all bullshit. But anyways, at quarterback, I'm probably gonna end up going with Derek Carr or Matthew Stafford or Kenny Pickett, or I'll probably go with Kenny Pickett, honestly.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the
New
Saints.
Orleans? Oh.
I'm a believer, you know.
No, I do like that matchup for you. I don't like the Saints defense so
No,
much.
you totally have a right to question that,
Yeah.
but it's just a gut feeling. But I've been wrong before. Yeah, I'm definitely beatable. I'm gonna throw somebody in. I'm in Njoku's back, so I've got, I've still got some really good players,
Oh, yeah.
So, good luck, Jacob.
It's still gonna be a close. I mean, like, it's gonna be, if I win, it's gonna be by like 5 points if I win, unless somebody goes for 50, which is not happening. But
yeah, one game that I'm particularly looking forward to is the Raiders Colts game. I just want to see, like, I don't know, like, I don't know if the Colts are gonna be. I feel like they're gonna be really horrible or really good.
One or the
But
other.
I hope they're really horrible, and I hope the Raiders shit on them and Josh Jacobs goes off. But
If
we'll
that happens,
see.
that would not be good for my team, because
Yeah,
I think any one of your players could drop like 30 in a week between Jacobs, Cup, Diggs, even Connor. They all
Yeah.
could go off.
And
I don't
honestly,
think I have as many of those players, but
yeah, I'm debating throwing Deontay Johnson into, but I'm not sure yet.
that wouldn't be a bad play either. All right, Sammie.
All right. Well, yeah, this is it. We've made it to the end. You're the king of the league right now. It's what it's looking like. The league were to end today. You're the leader. You're in the pole position. So I want to thank you for having on. We wish you the best for the rest of this season. I guess maybe not, yeah. Hopefully we see you in the playoffs. We don't know if we'll make it with you, but yeah, great to have you on.
I hope to see you both there, but if not, it was fun anyways. And thanks for having me.
All right, so we're going to pretend that our 40 minutes on Zoom didn't just end abruptly as Sammie was going out. We thanked him for being on. King of the Castle was here. Yes, great to have him on. Might have him on again later. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. We'll see if he maintains his top spot. But yeah, I guess with Sammie, we talked about the matchups. We'll get into our regular analysis of the next week, getting into the sell high. I guess this is literally the highest sell maybe of the whole fantasy football season. So maybe this is, an easy one. But Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is never going to do that ever again. He will never get 5 touchdowns ever
points?
again.
Are you kidding me?
And on top of that, I think, just as, Jamar Chase will be back at some point this season. They didn't put them on the IR. They're expecting him back, in a few weeks. I think this offense, the Bengals offense is a pass. I mean, I guess they have Mixon. You could say it's a pretty balanced offense, but I think that offense is at its best when Joe Burrow's throwing the ball, when they're taking advantage of all their receiving weapons. Once Jamar comes back, as this team starts to get more healthy, that's what is going to be happening, especially as we get closer to the playoffs. So, if you have Joe Mixon, if you're willing to get rid of him, or if you can get a good offer,
get good value.
Sell him now. He's not going to drop 55 for you again. And if he does, then I'm wrong and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Then
you shouldn't listen to us if he does.
And you shouldn't listen to us anyway. So
okay. Yeah. The next sell high, we got another really big sell high. We got Josh Allen here. I kind of went with him just because of the injury situation and just like kind of the outlook. Like, he didn't have a big performance this week. Bill, like the elbow injury is a little bit like uncertain because that's kind of a big spot. I've heard it's like a potentially serious UCL injury, which I mean, pitchers get that injury all the time in baseball.
Yeah,
And
this
I
Tommy
feel like they're out
John,
for a
this
while,
like
so definitely something to monitor. I think he's arguably a top 3 quarterback, even if he's hurt and has to miss a few weeks. So I think if you can somehow get some value for him, if you're making the push for the playoffs, definitely something to consider. I would say someone you can get a lot of value for because there aren't that many top quarterbacks. Even if he isn't hurt, I would still say someone to consider trading. Just because the Bills, I mean, they've been running it more. They bought in Naheem Hines. I think they want to get it out of his hands more. Just something to think about going forward. So let's take a look at those buy lows. All right. First buy low. It's kind of a 2-part buy low. It's Keenan Allen / Mike Williams. I think both those receivers, they've kind of had some injuries this year. Mike Williams, I think, is out another week or two, but Keenan Allen, I think, is supposed to be back this week against the 49ers. And I mean, Keenan Allen hasn't played that many games this year. I think he's played 2, 3. I think only one full game.
3.
Yeah. And he's still coming into the season. He was a top 10 receiver at the edge of the top 10, top 15 receiver. I think that offense is one of the best in the game with Herbert. And if you could get a solid receiver right here, this is arguably a wide receiver 1 on your team. If you could get Keenan Allen and he's healthy, I think someone definitely to consider buying low on. You probably wouldn't have to give up too much from him. Hopefully, at least.
Hopefully.
But I think definitely something to consider buying low on.
Yeah, and then our other buy low is Jamal Williams. It's kind of interesting. We had DeAndre Swift as a buy low, I think, when he first got hurt, and we're coming out of his injury now. But these first few games, granted, DeAndre Swift has been limited, but Jamal Williams has been playing well. He's getting touches, especially in the red zone. I think he's playing well enough, even if DeAndre Swift is back to 100%. Jamal Williams is going to continue to get like 10 to 15 carries a game. I feel like that's kind of a solid bet at this point in this offense. And depending on game script, he might get more. So I think he's definitely a guy that, and he might be valued, as a flex, maybe even a handicap guy, depending on the team he's on or your league. But he's someone who can start for you and can be meaningful. He's going to get touches in the red zone, and I think is definitely has the upside. I mean, we've seen him put up multiple touchdown games. He has receiving upside as well, which is even more surprising with Swift. Like, he's just a solid running back and
great,
definitely someone, just a great flex option, someone you could plug and play, and depending on the matchup, can do way more for you. So definitely worth buying into if you have the opportunity.
And that offense is explosive, so definitely something you can buy into now. For cheap too, I feel like.
All right, and then getting on to the waiver wire. First one is rookie tight end Greg Dulcich. Now, I guess this is another kind of like, I think we had Albert Okwuegbunam, who was another Denver tight end on earlier this season. He did not pan out, but Dulcich, rookie out of UCLA, I think he was a 3rd-round pick. He came off the IR for the start of the season, went over Okwuegbunam in the depth chart, and has been a very consistent target for Russell Wilson so far. I think he's gotten like 5 to 7, 8 targets every single game, getting receptions on those as well. Like, he's doing well. He's getting yards for PPR. He's definitely a good option. And tight end, I've had to learn the hard way. And I think going forward in fantasy, like, I'm just going to have to stream tight end. Dulcich is definitely a really good streaming option. And for the rest of this season, I think part of it is kind of, if you're hoping that Broncos offense is going to get better and start to click, Dulcich is an investment there that is going to pay off for sure. Like, he's only going to do better as that offense improves.
I agree.
And then the next one, Terrence Marshall. This is another one who maybe on a subpar team or a lacking offense, but the last few weeks has picked it up. I think the last 2 weeks, he's gotten 2 touchdowns and like a combined over 150 yards. He's put up back-to-back double-digit fantasy performances and is showing some like solid rapport with Baker Mayfield. So definitely someone who, as that Panthers offense, that Panthers team in general is starting to show some life from nowhere after trading McCaffrey, which is crazy to see. But Terrace Marshall is starting to emerge as that number one option for them. So, or not number. I mean, I guess they have DJ Moore, but in the red zone, he's just a bigger, like kind of typical X receiver, and I think he's, kind of proving to be valuable in that offense. So, might be worth picking up now. He kind of gives me. He's giving me a little bit of like Amon-Ra St. Brown vibes from last year, just in terms of like, I guess I don't think he's not a rookie. He's been in the league for. I don't think he's a rookie.
I think he's young. I think he might be a rookie.
Yeah, if he's not a rookie, it's like his second year. I don't know, young regardless, but like having like kind of a late start of the season, subdued, not really doing much, but starts to kind of pick up in the offense, become a big part of it, and turn into one of their top weapons. Just kind of feels like a similar type situation to me. So you can pick him up, get him on your roster now, even if you're not starting him this week. Next few weeks, just someone to keep an eye on. It might be worth it down the line and closer to the playoffs.
I like that comparison a lot, like Amon-Ra last year, a lot like Waddle from last year. They both kind of exploded, kind of came on more closer to the end. My waiver wire choice for this week was Rachaad White. I watched that whole Bucks Rams game, and the Bucks a lot of times kind of started to turn to Rachaad White to take carries on first, second down, which I think that was kind of their first time this year giving him carries that Fournette usually takes. And I think if this continues to happen, which it should, with like, I don't think they're going to continue to feed Fournette the same volume with Rachaad White showing this explosiveness. I think they're going to continue to give White more snaps, more touches, everything. I think he's someone you should definitely pick up now. Their offense hasn't been that great, and I think they're looking for new ways to find offense, and Rachaad White has been one of those main pieces. I expect him to continue to get touches. So someone you should get now if you can. I already have half the Bucks offense on my team, so I probably will not, but I'm considering him in my other leagues. So go do that right now. Get him. And let's get into those best matchups before we depart. My best matchup, my new favorite player on my team, Travis Etienne Jr. I love my team. Dameon Pierce, Travis Etienne, receivers, Debo, DeAndre Hopkins. I know we're not supposed to get into that, but just I love them on paper. Etienne has a great matchup this week against Kansas City. Kansas City's defense has been okay. Nothing special. I think Etienne, he's dropped 25 points the last 2 weeks. I think this could be a game where I don't think it'll actually happen, but I think he could drop 50 this week. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he scores a few touchdowns, gets over 100 yards. I think he gets over 100 receiving yards this week. I think they're going to be down. It's going to be a high scoring. Could be a shootout. I think this guy could save my season right here. If he drops like 50, 70 points, I doubt that'll happen. But if he does, I'll be back in the points for. Season will be saved, and I will probably get his jersey. So this is why he's my best matchup. I'm confident in him this week. Play him if you have him. I'm sure that's obvious. So.
Yeah, and then for me, Rondale Moore, part best matchup, part also like I need him to really do well in this matchup or my season is done. Arizona going up against the Rams. It's important to note now, obviously, DeAndre Hopkins didn't play. They played once before. DeAndre Hopkins wasn't playing in that game. So Marquise Brown was the top option. Marquise Brown got 140 yards on 14 catches in that game. Now, D-Hop is back now. So obviously, he's the top weapon. I'm expecting D-Hop to go off. But Rondale Moore's there still. And he's that second option. And he's proven he's gotten targets, consistent catches. He's done well these past few weeks. I think if anything, I feel good about this matchup or a little bit better because we've seen what DeAndre Hopkins has done coming back. We know the Rams have Jalen Ramsey. Assume that Jalen Ramsey is probably going to be on DeAndre for most of the game, or that's just going to be a matchup that's reoccurring. I think Rondale Moore is going to have plenty of opportunity. I think if Arizona starts to use him a bit more in the slot too, I think he really could have a game where he goes off and has like a crazy performance. And if it's this week, that could be the difference between me beating Adwin or not. So hoping for him to, at the very least maintain his production from the last few weeks. And I think going up against the Rams, I definitely could see him even exceeding that, getting in the end zone. Like, I see a big week for Rondell coming up.
I can see that happening, Anthony. All right. Thank you all for joining us this week. We have Evan Ingram waving goodbye to you there. Hope you all.
He lost that waving before he lost. So now we kind of have to.
Typical
I don't know if that
Jaguars
means we're
thing.
both going to lose this week. If maybe that's like a bad omen.
Hey,
but
don't say that yet. I think I have a chance against Sammie. We'll see.
I feel pretty good. I don't know. You're playing. Sammie's like the best team in the league.
You should.
But I don't know. Adwin's the worst team in the league, and I'm willing to
You
say
lose.
that on record. His team is the worst.
If you lose,
And
that's a
if I
bold
lose,
accusation.
then
You're losing to the worst team in the league. Doesn't
yeah.
that make you
If
the
I
worst?
lose, then I'm the worst. If I lose, then I'm the worst. This kind of determines it.
Tune in next week, and we will see if Anthony is the worst. I think there's a chance. Thanks for joining us, guys.